Hello and welcome. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Did you notice?
Welcome to Movie Phone.
Did you notice?
What?
We're a well-oiled machine, baby.
Yeah.
That went smooth as fuck.
Hello. Welcome. This is the Audio Inc. STL podcast.
Yeah.
I am Kara the Lesbian, and that is...
Pookie motherfucking Jones, baby.
Motherfucking Jones. Motherfucking Jones.
Did you just do the A-Town?
She actually said it right this time, too.
Sorry. I'm so in your face. I like to make people uncomfortable. If you forget our names, they're right here at the bottom of your screen. Look, check it out. Boop, 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 boop.
It's got to be over.
I don't know how to do it. Okay, whatever. I'm done. Whatever. We got a big show for you today because guess who's here?
Who's here?
The man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Scheel, frontman of Gravity Kills.
Yes.
They're going to be in town Saturday, the 11th.
Saturday.
Yeah, they're the demand for them was so fucking out of control that they had to move the show from Del Mar Hall to the Pageant.
Hell yeah, dude. That's so awesome.
I mean, I think when they released the tickets, it sold out in like, what, an hour?
That's awesome. That's so badass.
That's insane.
Hell yeah.
Like, people...
Well, they're one of the staple St. Louis bands for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, people fucking love them around here. Last time they were here was the last time that, obviously, I'd seen him and interviewed him 12 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I don't like to think about that.
Back when you were a spring chicken. See, I remember.
Back when I could get out of bed without everything popping on me.
Do you do the old man groan when you get up?
See what I'm saying? Out of control over here.
Do you do the old man groan when you move?
Pretty much. Literally. Man, it sucks because like my laundry room is downstairs and I got to go up and down the stairs and I'm like, oh my God. Jesus. I'll leave a load of laundry in the dryer for 2 fucking weeks just so I don't have to go get it.
But then you got to like it's like...
I know. It's a whole thing. I have a problem. It's a whole fucking thing. Anyway, what'd you do this week? Anything fun?
What did I do this week? Let's see.
Any cool stuff?
No, I had a rehearsal with my Black Magic Santana tribute band. That was awesome. I think that's about it. I mean, at the wintertime for me is...
slow days?
Slow, but a lot of wood. I'm in the woodshed with the bass, learning stuff. And
in the woodshed?
I'm in the shed, working on stuff.
You practice in your shed?
Well, that's what we call it, but it's just really just practicing in wherever you practice music.
I was going to say.
Okay. You're in the woodshed slapping your bass.
I mean,
slapping the bass.
I forgot she's from Winfield, and a woodshed means a woodshed for her.
Yes.
But for musicians, it just means working on your craft.
Oh, that's a term you guys all use.
Yeah.
Oh, now I know another one.
I'm here to educate you so you know what's happening.
Woodshed.
Yeah.
I'm getting it.
I'm getting
it down.
Working on the craft.
I am very excited to have Jeff here. I haven't talked to him in such a long damn time.
How long ago was it?
12 years.
12 years.
12 years.
You were what? 12 years ago?
I was like freshly 21. I remember because
I was going to say she was like 16 or something. Tried to make her feel good, but she...
I think that was probably the first concert that I had went to as a 21-year-old where I could drink. And I had taken some mushrooms.
Oh, so...
that night too.
But you didn't have to be 21 for that.
No. Yeah, it was a good show. Because Doug, their keyboardist guy, does this crazy stuff with his... It's a keyboard, right? That's what you call it, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what you're doing with your hands.
You got to see it. Have you ever seen Gravity Kills live?
I have not seen Gravity Kills.
It's wild. It's insane. Like...
But do the thing with
literally, like he'll just move his keyboard around.
So he has his keyboard on
flipping it all around.
It's on a stand that rotates and
it's insane.
I've seen Fishbone does that.
Probably not like his.
Probably not. No, I would imagine it isn't.
It's wild.
Kara's motions were pretty accurate.
It is.
Is it?
And he wears this like fur cap.
Nice. I like fur caps.
And like face paint and stuff. It's real cool.
Oh yeah.
I didn't like it that night because I was on the mushrooms, but it's okay.
Were you having a bad trip?
No.
Jesus.
No, it's just, it's very overstimulating to, do psychedelics and go to a rock show like that.
Little kids,
I didn't
take that for a lesson.
I didn't like take a lot, so I wasn't,
Was it your first time?
No.
Oh.
I think second, I think.
I mean, you were a pro by then.
Yeah.
I didn't take a lot. She didn't know what the hell she took.
My first time, my mom had told me to blend them up with orange juice. So I got these mushrooms and I put them in a blender with orange juice.
Hold on a second. Just hold on a second. Your mom told you how to take mushrooms.
Yeah. I mean, which is fine.
Parenting 101, man.
Yeah.
What's the
It's
shock?
fine.
It must be
as long as she knows what I'm doing, we're very open with each other. I'm safe about it. I wasn't going anywhere. I was just at my apartment, and she told me to mix it up with some orange juice and it'll really intensify it. So I was like, okay, let's put them in a blender with some orange juice. And I made this disgusting fucking psychedelic smoothie. And it was the worst thing that I had ever had in my life. And it was me and 2 other people that had eaten these mushrooms, and it only worked on me. So I was in my apartment just tripping by myself, and I'm just like laughing my ass off and, watching the outlets move up and down the walls. And in my apartment, we had this mirror that was probably as big as this graphic you see behind me. And it was right behind like our vanity and our toilet. And I sat on the back of that toilet for 3 hours.
Now, I'm just putting this out there, but placebo works 35% of the time.
And it was the best time ever.
No one else got high but
so
you.
Fun.
All I'm putting out there is...
I just think I took more than them.
Oh, okay.
I had drank a lot of that chunky fucking smoothie.
I chewed that shit.
I really did. And I had never taken anything with orange juice since. Because no thank you. Mm-mm.
Will you drink orange juice now?
Yeah, just by itself. If there's no pulp, I can't chew it.
So you're not a mimosa person?
Oh, absolutely.
Theory shot. I already proved it wrong.
Have you met me?
Bam!
But I don't like mimosas with or orange juice with pulp.
No, nobody likes orange juice with pulp.
Tony Soprano does.
Okay. So what did you do this week?
I mean, I just worked a lot.
I worked a lot.
Not really. I didn't really work a lot. I only really work 3 days a week. But now at work, I host trivia nights on Wednesdays.
Hell yeah.
So that's fun. If you're ever looking for something to do on a Wednesday night, you can come see me for trivia.
Which one do you work at now?
South County. Hot Shots in South County.
That's
come see me in all my spandex glory.
That's a long drive, but I'd come out to hang out with you.
I mean, it's just for fun. Oh, I will not be here. I gotta just tell you right now, don't be sad, but I won't be here the next show. It's my family Thanksgiving.
Are you breaking up with me?
Sorry.
Wow.
We're doing our Thanksgiving early because half of my family is going to Bali. Bali, Indonesia.
No shit.
Mm-hmm. They're all going, and they're going to be gone for Thanksgiving and like through December, and so we're doing our holidays early.
Dude,
Thank God.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, but you're not going to that because you're not allowed.
I'm not going overseas.
Is that because you're not allowed to go overseas, or you're just not
allowed?
Well, I don't know.
I've never been to jail.
I don't know.
I am not a felon. I can vote. I can own guns if I want. I've never even been in a fight in my life.
I call bullshit.
I swear. I just have 33 years of pent-up aggression. Just waiting for the right person.
I'm looking at Jules. Give me the sign, Jules, if you need help.
She can't hear you.
There it is. I saw it.
Whatever. Loser.
So, what do you think's going on this week?
Well, let's see. There's some interesting stuff going on around St. Louis this week.
When you say interesting, what do you mean?
I mean, a lot of entertainment type festivals. There's a comedy festival in the Grove.
Oh.
November 9th to the 11th. Jeff Ross is headlining. I do love Jeff Ross.
Oh, no shit. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, at the Grove. That's wild. Let's see. Janelle James, Shin Wang. I'd never heard of that. But there's going to be like over 100 comedians there, 30 events. It's going to take, it's going to, 3 days long? That's a lot of laughing.
That's what the world needs, I'll tell you that. But that's awesome.
That's a lot of laughing.
That's a great thing.
There's the St. Louis International Film Festival that's going on from the 9th to the 19th of November. So what, 2 weeks-ish?
Yeah.
Almost. A little less than 2 weeks. I think my Uncle Ben actually has a animated short in that festival.
No shit.
Yeah, he is a graphic designer. He actually just worked with DreamWorks and Pixar, and he's very fucking talented. He's been in bands all his life and stuff. I don't even... he can pick up any instrument and just play it.
What's the name of his small short?
Starling.
Starling.
Yeah, Starling, I want to say.
Well, congratulations to him. That's amazing.
Pretty fucking cool, right?
How come he's not coming on the pod?
I asked him. He's just all over the place. He's got a lot of stuff going on.
So let me ask you this. No foam sniffing this week?
I don't know who was on this microphone today, but I'm not a fan. The thrill is gone.
It smells clean now.
Birthdays. Who is getting older this week? Leif Garrett.
Leif Garrett.
Garrett,
funny story. I opened up for him once. My band Mind Over Soul at Pops.
Did you really?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Like just him by himself or his whole Cartridge family?
It was just him by himself.
I'm just kidding. I know it's the Partridge family. I know.
Just him by himself.
Oh, so we just got like
he had a band or some shit.
Okay. Minnie Riperton, if she was, God rest in peace, if she was still here, she'd be 75.
Yeah, but you can't have a birthday. Can you have a birthday if you're dead?
Well, you still were birthed on that day.
But you're no longer living.
But you were still birthed. I hope people celebrate my birthday when I'm dead.
It's weird to celebrate a dead person's birthday. They no longer have birthdays because they're dead.
I don't think it's weird.
It's called a heavenly birthday.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Bring it down, Pookie.
It's called a heavenly birthday.
Listen, you know what?
Oh.
You know what?
You know what, Pookie? I can. Oh.
Too quick for you.
Start with me, man.
I can mute your mic.
Yeah.
It still doesn't make a heavenly birthday weird.
Mute his fucking mic.
Heavenly
It's just the Kara show today.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, could you imagine? Ugh.
It'd probably be
No
awesome.
thanks. No thanks.
No thanks.
Ugh. God, I would run out of shit to talk about in like 10 minutes.
No, you wouldn't. You could just keep going.
I probably wouldn't.
With your hands.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
But I mean, Saturday is the big Gravity Kills show too, which I'll probably be going to. And Sunday, we're all doing that thing at Molly's, right?
Yeah, we're going to
go see Tori Allen.
Yep.
She's going to be at Molly's at 1:00.
Molly's.
Yep.
Hopefully I'm not too hungover from the show the night before.
No, I want you to, but you have to be there regardless on how bad you feel.
Ugh, God.
None of that bullshit about, I can't make it. Because me and Joe are driving from East Buttfuck to get out there. So
That's going to be so fun. I'm excited. Hopefully the weather's nice and not freezing cold like it's been for the last few days. It's been, 75-ish?
yeah, it's going to be cold, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'll wear a coat. I'll just get up and, dance or something.
There you go. I'll tell you what. I'm getting excited. I'm gonna get a little personal here. Cabo is in the process of one of our. We're done with our third EP, but it's our second original. And
third extended play is what he meant.
That's correct. And then we started on our cover EP. We're doing 90s songs. And the songs we picked are bizarre to me, I think, because, a lot of times when people talk about Cabo and our description a lot of times says post-grunge, and we don't have one grunge song that
I was going to say, that's interesting.
It's weird. It's like, it's cool, but it was like when we all started picking our songs, it was just like I was, okay. Okay.
Do you have any toadies on there?
No toadies.
Oh, I love toadies. Damn.
It's going to be a lot of these songs are going to have to be reimagined and cool, but it's going to be It's going to be fun. Like when we did the 80s one, we did Drive. We did a different version of it. And so we just kind of do cool things. We did the police cover, but you got to do that right. We did Synchronicity too, and you can't change that, But we got a little creative with the cover of Drive.
Well, I'm excited for you to tell me what's on there after the show,
so
I can be the only one that knows.
You're going to be like, really?
I like getting exclusives. I feel important.
And then hopefully we can get our drummer Andy in town out of Nashville. I want him to move back, but the Cabo could get a little more functional.
Mr. Nashville.
I get it, though.
Playing with Gin Blossom's too cool to come back to St. Louis.
I get it, though. He's doing good down there. But
speaking of coming back to St. Louis, our guest drove all the way here because he doesn't live here anymore either.
Where does he live?
I actually do half the time.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Everybody.
No,
Jeff Scheel.
I'm a West County baseball dad.
Hell yeah.
My.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Woo!
That's right. Yeah, in fact... Yeah, we were driving by, the Chesterfield Valley Sports Complex. Oh, yeah, spent a lot of time over there.
So where do you call home? Here?
Oklahoma City's still officially home. I've got an 18-year-old finishing high school there.
Okay.
Super interesting for the context of our discussion today, but she's coming to the show. She's never seen her dad do it.
Wow.
So, which most kids haven't.
Well, I mean...
So... Boom, boom.
Why not?
So
it's fun.
Anyway, that's how the whole thing started. That's why we're doing the show. It sounds strange. We talked about it for years. We were going to do it with the pandemic, kind of, as you know, being a working musician.
Yeah, just put a
man. It really killed a lot of stuff, right? And and so we had talked about doing a 25 year, which would have been in 2001. Is that right? Yeah, for the band being together, we formed in '94. So. We thought we were going to do something, and it didn't happen. And Kurt and I, our drummer, I don't know if you've ever met him. We were talking, and we're like, man, it'd be really cool if the kids saw us. So anyway, then some people kind of talked us up, saying, yeah, you guys could do this. And then here we are. Now I'm talking to you guys, Kara, a million years later. Yeah, I can't believe. Yeah, because you were to me, you're like a veteran of the radio business by then, and you weren't. But but everybody, yeah, but you had a ubiquity about you in St. Louis, and
she doesn't give her any credit.
I know, but she did, and so people knew her, and so because she kind of came on and just was. Maybe you were yourself, and you were letting everybody know who you were straight up, and I think that kind of took the city by storm, and people knew who you were, and then all of a sudden I'm doing your show, and you're asking very provocative questions for a person who apparently hadn't been in the business very long. Now I'm finding out, and
nope. And but that was all pretty much I had Tom and Jeff as mentors, so that's where that came from. How could I not be provocative and in your face?
Yeah,
that's true.
They were the ones that built me up.
Yeah, they built a lot of people up. I mean, those guys were part of my life. Back we were having dinners. Back when maybe by then the Point had moved. When first time I was ever at the Point was when it was over by the Post-Dispatch building.
Okay,
when they were owned by Sinclair, and then. And then they've switched companies twice. Mm-hmm. And this was the first time, we went over there too. And that was the first time I'd been since they were with Hubbard. This is the first time I'd ever been there.
Yeah, I haven't been to any of the studios since Tom and Jeff worked there.
And crazy enough, our drummer, Kurt, he designed the studio that they were at the power station.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's an architect, and he designed that. And I think where Hubbard is, where Bonneville was, you radio people in town will probably say I was wrong, but Kurt had designed that as well. So it was, so Kurt's like, oh yeah, but a lot of his design elements were still up. I was like, oh, that lighting's new or whatever. But so
let me ask you this: your kids, the band's kids, do they all know how successful and popular you guys were? Or
my 11-year-old stepson, he had really no idea. Like we never, I don't know that he's ever seen me play guitar.
Really?
Yeah. And So he didn't really know, and it's how my daughter found out I was even in a band. She was in daycare, and I picked her up at daycare, and one day she says, "Hey, Daddy," just make up. Brittany's daddy said that you used to play guitar in a band. She was little, and so and I, it's not like I don't have memorabilia everywhere in the house and that kind of stuff. I've put more and more up since she's gotten a little bit older, and but I kind of just was dad. Your dad's your dad or whatever. And so as she's gotten older, and she's 18 now, and I had to pull a box out of the shed that had all these old Gravity Kills T-shirts. And now she wears these, and she goes.
Hell yeah.
And we live in Oklahoma City, but it's very she goes to a Catholic high school like every St. Louis kid does, and so she's the kid at the Catholic high school that with her pierced nose and her hair's a ton of different colors, and she has to wear a uniform, but she may rock some Doc Martens or whatever, and then when she's not doing that, she might wear a Pigface T-shirt or a Joan Jett T-shirt or or a Gravity Kills T-shirt. Although she thinks what we did musically is pretty. Like, she's just like, she it's a parody to her, really. She listens to it and she's like, oh yeah, you used just to go or whatever, but her friends like. I've noticed that she actually had a boyfriend for a while that stalked me on Instagram. Like, it was so I guess he was just fascinated by it. He was he was a tennis player at the high school, and just this little different thing. And Willow wasn't presenting herself to the world that way at the time, and like she is now. And so it just seems so out of character. And really, where it's funny is now here in St. Louis. As we're, with the kids, we were talking about in respect to the kids thinking, oh, were you really big or whatever. I think my daughter at one point, this is a couple of years ago, she's like, it was like an Oklahoma City normal house and, don't drive some, super expensive car. And she was like, Dad, it's like, why aren't we living in a mansion? Like you were... you're on MTV, and in her mind, she must be thinking we're one of the, some cautionary tale. Like,
you got a song in a movie and in a video game. Why aren't we?
Right. Why aren't we flying private or whatever? And so, but she thinks it's pretty cool, and she's pretty proud of it. I think all the kids are. I think this is years ago. What record store was it? Euclid Records down in Central West End.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, and Kurt was down there. This is when his girls were younger, and they had a Gravity Kills poster in the window. And as Kurt tells the story, they were walking by, and one of his daughters, he's got 3 daughters, and just pointing at this poster like, wait a second, like... and it was almost like that's how they found out.
Oh, because there was like a picture of you guys.
Right. There was a picture of us in the, it was from the second record, the Perversion record. It was a Joseph Cultus photograph that he did. And so, and all the kids are like, oh my God, and they're making this connection. And so they've never seen us play. And even Kurt's daughters, Kurt has 2 older, he's got one that's out of college. I think his oldest is like maybe she's a senior at Belmont or something. And they we did a show in 2005 at the Pageant, and they came to sound check. And they didn't come to the show, and they were just little, that was, that's 18 years ago. So They were, one's probably maybe barely out of diapers at that point. So, and you've been to the show, and, we use adult language at the shows, and which I guess I can use on this show as well. But yeah, so it's cool, and my daughter's probably more excited than I am for the show.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
And I think, and I've tried to think about from her perspective what might blow her mind, and I don't think seeing me perform is going to be that crazy for her. I think what's going to be crazy is seeing, a couple thousand people going crazy watching her dad perform.
100%.
Like that'll be like, this is my dad. This is this is the guy that gets on to me about doing my homework.
My ass.
Right. Yeah.
That's got to be a good feeling.
I think it would be cool. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think,
I mean, for
me, yeah, I think, and that was a big catalyst for us doing the show. What's happened is, because we put the show on sale, we were talking when we walked in, Karen and I were talking, and we put the show on sale at Del Mar because we're like, we haven't played in so long. In fact, the last show we played, we opened for the Urge, and they were kind enough to have us on the show, and that was great. We got to play for, of course, Urge shows sold out, so you get to play for a lot of people, and it's awesome. And we didn't know that there would be a demand to be honest with you. And so, and we were excited. It's like, oh, Del Mar Hall. I'm like old guy now, and I don't have to run around and jump around, and I don't have much stage to cover. And then the show sells out in 60 or 90 minutes or whatever it was. And so we're like, okay, and I got on the horn with some people, including everybody over in Pat over at
Pageant,
yeah, and they're like, let's do it, let's just move it, and because there were people that were just we've got people coming in from out other countries for the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's weird. In St. Louis, we're kind of enigmatic, maybe a little bit, because we haven't continued to play shows. We're thank God you can still see the Urge play. Mm-hmm. Stir's come back and played a couple shows, played some successful shows. Yeah. And then you got guys like you out there still able to do all these things, and and
we're trying.
But you know what I mean? There's the bands that still mean something in town, and we didn't know whether or not, honestly, that would be the case. Like, oh yeah, you're the guys with that song from the thing, and and I think we'd been gone long enough. Like, I think people are like, maybe people are like, hey, these guys are old, and if we want to see them, we better.
Oh my God,
we better see them. And honestly,
this has been like the weirdest year of comebacks, though. Like,
Story of the Year. Are you familiar with those guys?
Yeah, of course.
They're killing it, smashing it right now. Their new record they just released is amazing. This is their 20 year of Page Avenue, and they're back on the road.
But like Stabbing Westward was just here over the summer.
Yeah.
Jimmy's Chicken Shack was just here over the summer. Fucking Gravity Kills is now back.
It's
just so wild.
I got to see the Stabbing guys. They came through. This was a couple years ago. When they first got back together, and of course we played a bunch of shows with them. Back in the in the '90s. I mean, we played shows with everybody from. I mean, you name it. I mean, if they were on MTV or on the radio, like at the point, we'd played a show with them,
right? And
then some, because then we'd play a show with Megadeth. Or we'd go play a show. We played a show with Danzig in Boston.
Oh, that's
we were like, it was weird no man's land, right? So like we're playing a show with No Doubt, or we opened for Garbage in Rochester, and then literally we would go play with like American Head Charge somewhere or something, and a totally different, woo, pop crowd, and then the next crowd's like, woo, and so back then. And now some of these bands are popping up again. And, we talked about the Gin Blossoms. I mean, I actually bought a Gin Blossom show for a casino a couple years ago. It was with a different drummer. Andy didn't play with them. It was a guy out of the Phoenix area that was playing with them. But yeah, it's crazy how some of those bands, but but Gravity Kills isn't going to be, we're not a band that's, we're going to show up at, we're not going to show up at Downstream Casino in Joplin.
So have you guys played a show together since last time you were in St. Louis?
No.
Okay, so you, like, home for you is Oklahoma City.
Yep.
And does everyone else still live here in St. Louis? So how does that work? Like, how do you guys reherse together to put on this show?
Yeah, please tell me, because we had that problem.
Okay, well, everybody, when we came up with a set list.
I've been very...
Okay.
I've been wanting to ask that.
Okay, that's a good question, really. And people have wondered that, and I've had to answer that question. That's a good question. Anyway, so what we put a set list together. Mm-hmm. What I did, because I hadn't sang the songs in so long, one, you got to remember the lyrics. And people go, how do you write the song? How do you not remember the lyrics? I mean, no, I don't sit around listening to Gravity Kills music.
Yeah.
I might be listening to a new Actors record, or I'm hanging out with my wife and we're listening to Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
So I'm not listening. I'm not going, ooh, let's listen to some Gravity. And so I don't. And for me as well as a lot of people, it's it's in a time capsule. It's in someplace else, and so I had to not only it's relearning the lyrics, but I wanted to spend time relearning how I sang the songs, the inflections I used, trying to tap into maybe where I was emotionally. Because people think and you're a songwriter too, when you sit down and you're writing music, doing a record is about capturing a moment in time.
100%.
And writing a song is about capturing either, a story or a feeling from a moment in time. And so when I listen to those songs, I can picture me in the studio recording them. I can picture where I was if I was writing lyrics, or at some point if I broke off with Matt and I was, hey, help me with this phrase, and hey, what do you think about this, and what do you have to add? Or Kurt back in the day was like a Rick Rubin. He would conceptualize everything, and he would be like, what do you want to say, and how do you want to say it? And he would just pull it out of you, and he would add so much. Meanwhile, Doug's in the room making noise, and so I would try to capture all those things. And so to answer your question, Carol, what we did is everybody was rehearsing on their own. Matt and Kurt started rehearsing together maybe a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm. And are they still do the Shock City Studios, right?
Well, that's Doug.
Doug, yeah.
Yeah, Kurt owns an architecture firm in town, and Matt is the CEO of an engineering, manufacturing consulting.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a mechanical engineer with a master's in public administration. He's
adult with a capital A.
Yeah, he's a smart. Yeah, look, I'm the dumb musician, and I can use the M word because here we are, but. Doug's got a studio, and Kurt's his architecture firm is, they've done crazy stuff. He's in the media world. They've done stuff like Jim Rome's studio and Don Imus back in the day, and he's done those kinds of projects. Oh, yeah. And so anyway, they rehearsed together. I saw Doug for the first time last night.
Oh my God.
Since we played together.
Oh my God.
At the Pageant.
Holy shit.
Oh my God.
So how many rehearsals as a band are you planning on?
We had.
Well, I know you said you
had one last night.
Yeah, performed.
We have one tomorrow. We have one Monday. And then we may do a little bit on Wednesday, but we'll get into some other stuff. Like
That's just pro, dude. That's just pro shit right there.
Well, it's not like we're learning new stuff either. There's a lot of muscle memory involved. Mm-hmm. And you get it too. You haven't played a track in a while, and your fingers just go. Like you're like, you may forget some stuff, but once you do it, there's a lot of muscle memory involved. Like, okay, you guys doing the show, and if you're doing a promo for something, mm-hmm. Kara, you understand this. You've done enough promos where there's something that clicks in your mind, and you just go into a different place. Well, like you could be thinking about what you're gonna have for dinner when you get home. But you're reading a promo.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And it's kind of the same as a musician, although you try not to do that, right?
It's funny with me, when I listen back to some of the songs that I played when we recorded with David Bendeth for our first two records, I forget how to play them if I think about it.
Right. That makes sense.
But if I just turn it on and play, I play it with no problem.
Yeah.
It's a mind fuck for me. So I try to go, okay, well, I'm just going to play the song. And then you're right. It's muscle memory. It kicks in. I remember how we played it live versus how we play it, how we recorded it and things like that. But it's when I go, okay, I did this part on this one, and then the song is lost to me.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how I live every day. I just wake up and don't even know what happened.
You know what?
And then I go to bed.
You know what though? And bands do that. How many, like when you were touring, and you're just playing night after night after night, you might go on stage, there's the audience, you get that rush, and then you start thinking about, literally you'll be thinking about, oh man, I hope the pizzas show up after the gig, and all, there's all this stuff going on. In the meantime, you're like pointing at people and screaming and all this stuff. In the meantime, you're going, oh man,
I forgot to turn the stove off.
Right. Or you're having this dialogue going off in your head about, oh man, what time's the bus call again? And, and all this stuff's going off in your head. And then you wake up and you're going, thank you, good
Yeah.
night.
Yeah. Catering was our big thing.
Right. And you were, and those are, are you thinking, golly,
wild.
tomorrow we're in Denver. I can do my laundry.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It goes quick.
Yeah. And so, but what we started doing was we would get together, you're rolling an intro and you hear the intro rolling, and we would sort of huddle up and we're like, achieve consciousness. And we would, because you try to, for that 90 minutes, 80 minutes, 75 minutes, or if you're opening for something 45, 30 minutes, whatever it is, try to, achieve consciousness, because I think once we got past the shock of actually anybody coming to shows, then it was like you kind of went through this kind of thing where everything sort of lost its meaning for a little while, and you were getting wrapped up in the wrong details. Mm-hmm. You were going in the wrong direction with a lot of shit, in your life. That being one of them. You weren't going on stage and going, I am a lucky motherfucker.
Right.
This is cool as fuck, and I'm wasting it because I'm not present. Mm-hmm. Which is what most people do, and they're, like, we're not here to give life advice,
Right?
Like your mom with the shrooms.
Oh yeah, only the best from my family.
Right, but if anybody could take anything away from what we're talking about now, is like you guys come in here and Joe's out there pushing buttons, and you guys have, and how many people? This is so cool that you guys get to do this shit.
Whoa, we're not talking about us right now.
No, I know. I understand that. But I mean, if people would I don't give a shit if you're like I talked about being a baseball dad. Man, kids grow up and they're gone.
Yep, that's happened to me.
Yeah. How old? Yeah.
My daughter, when she was my buddy, when I went on tour and I came back, she had a boyfriend.
Boyfriend.
It was a different. I was just like, what the fuck?
Right. You weren't the main man anymore.
Well, it was just I missed so much of my daughter growing up.
Yeah.
That she was literally my buddy. That she would fart and we'd laugh, or we'd be watching Monty Python. To that's not cool anymore. I have my boyfriend, and it was just weird, And so I get what you're saying, being conscious and being in a place. Our manager, Joe Litvak.
Yeah.
One of the things he told us when we first started touring, because we started touring, we were in a van, and then we got a bus.
Yeah.
And he held us from going to a bus.
Yeah, you can't go back.
Because he was like, exactly. He was like, once you go on the bus, you won't want to go back to the van. So we're not going to jump into the bus right away. We're going to make sure we can sustain ourselves. And we toured from 2008 to 2013 into 2013.
That's a good run.
It was a great run.
That's a great run.
And one of the things he said on the last tour, it was Carnival of Madness, us, Evanescence, Chevelle, Hailstorm, and New Medicine. And he said, I think he saw what was happening because he sees the numbers. That was our last tour we did, because it cost so much for us to be on the road that after we paid everyone, crew, management, lawyer, all that, everybody who's got their piece, there was just a little bit left for the four of us. And we knew. And he was like, just appreciate the tour, enjoy yourselves, guys. Enjoy yourself. He kept saying that. Enjoy yourselves. Just appreciate what you're doing. You guys are doing something that no one gets to do. You don't know how long this is going to last. Enjoy it. And then after that tour, we were like, we can't do this anymore. We can't go out and do 7 weeks worth of work for 1 week's worth of pay. It just doesn't work.
Gross.
Yeah. You know what though? Things are going to cycle through, and then all of a sudden, you guys might be.
Hopefully,
we're talking about some of these bands that are. We won't be a band again that you're going to see like our music isn't conducive to us playing a bunch of soft ticket state fairs and stuff that we can get. Believe me, I would love to have had the career that the Gin Blossoms have, but they have pop hits.
Yeah.
And they can go out and they can play everything from, they can come into town and play a show across the street at the Factory, or they could play a casino, or they can get booked in Sedalia for the Missouri State Fair, or whatever it is. And they can play 100 dates a year and make a lot of money. We're not one of those bands. We didn't have pop hits, and we had strangely
But every
enough,
time you guys are here, you sell the fucking place out.
yeah. Well,
Is that
we
because
could do
it's
that
only like once every 10
We
years?
can do that once every right. We can do it twice every 20 years.
Well, you're going to have to do it like again before 10 years. You're already talking about how old you are.
No, I mean, I joke about it.
No, don't wait 10 years again. Come on.
No, we're not. I mean, 10 years, I'm not going to be interested in doing it, I can assure you. And, we're not stopping the presses here. There's not a big, it's not that newsworthy. But we're putting in a lot of effort for this show. And I think, first of all, I didn't know that, vocally, what we did wasn't exactly, I'm not singing nice. And so, being 25 years older, didn't know that, making it through a 90-minute show didn't sound like that big a deal to people. But we didn't want to go out, and I'm a little rough tonight, by the way. I sang more last night. I've been rehearsing the set in full, but we're going through things multiple times.
Sure.
And, and it's just, and it's different. We're in you rehearse in a warehouse, and it's dry and it's dusty and it's all that stuff. And so anyway, not to be downer, I just we'd like to do a Chicago date.
Oh yeah.
Chicago over St. Louis is the place we stream the most. It's the place we sold the most records. But I think it had to do with that Chicago wax tracks kind of vibe there. The industrial bands from the 80s that, and the Ministries from, that's a Wax Tracks band, or Die Warsaw, and, Pigface was out of Chicago. Martin Atkins, who was, that guy played played with Public Image Limited, and played with Nine Inch Nails, and he played with Ministry.
Pigface sounds spooky.
Pigface is an all-star band. That let's name some people. Jeff Shell from Gravity Kills has played with Pigface. Danny Carey from Tool.
Okay.
Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Maybe I'll have
Trent
to look
Reznor. And then like some people from Ministry, and some there's like sort of some people that are really entrenched in that scene. A guy named Chris Connolly, who's been in Ministry, and some other bands that I could name, and you'd go, who the fuck is that? Because you're not, but in that scene, these people are like, they're rock gods. And so Pigface goes out and they do these tours where it's just, I've been on stage in LA, and I wasn't a drummer, but I might be playing drums, and there's multiple drum kits on stage. And I've been on stage playing, and Danny Carey's been playing.
That's wild.
Which is, and you're going, what am I doing here? It's like,
That's
they just
wild.
quit. And so, so that's one of the, so anyway, Chicago's the place that, St. Louis is our home, and St. Louis birthed the band. Mm-hmm. And without Point Essential Volume 1, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys right now. And that goes all the way back to guys that we talked about. Jim McGuinn, there's a guy named Alex Luke that headed up the station. This is way back in the day. Like Donnie Fandango was on the station he's still there, and he was there then. And I've got pictures of us with him. And so anyway, if we go to Chicago, maybe we do a festival or two, because now there are festivals that have cropped up that are, that are, sort of, they've have a couple of these older bands play, like Blue Ridge or Sick World.
That's Sick New World.
World,
That's a cool lineup they got going the second year now.
And so, and it's the manager from Treyu's manager is the guy who puts that together. And so, we've got connections there. And would we consider doing something like that? Yeah, I think go out and play. It's really cool to play a show, but too, it's a different vibe when you go out and play a festival.
Yeah,
you get to hang all day. There's people that like people that you've seen and met on the road, and like, hey, what's up? And then you get to play for this
huge crowd.
This huge crowd, which never was my favorite, by the way. My favorite shows would be playing like 200 head club.
I was just going to ask, do you prefer playing
and ripping
huge
it up,
crowds or smaller,
like punk rock
Pageant
shows? Even the Pageant, Like at our height, that's kind of where this is the size venues we were playing at the height of the band. But we went on like first time in Denver. We're talking about Denver. First time we played a place called the Lions Lair. Held 110 people. They didn't have a stage. They moved a couple booths. They had we sold the show out. We had 100 people paid. We had 10 on the list, and they literally had to move booths for us to play in this place.
Wow.
And we were already on MTV, all this stuff. It was the day we got the Sex Pistols reunion tour. They called us and said, hey, you got the Sex Pistols reunion tour. And then we're playing this little punk rock club in Denver.
That's wild.
And it was cool. I mean, and then the next time we were in Denver, we were playing Red Rocks with Sex Pistols.
Let me ask you this. Different states, different towns, no rhyme or reason that I could think of when we did it. Like you would think we would play Cleveland and be like, oh, we're going to pack this place. And there'd be no one. And then we'd play in Wisconsin and we would sell out. Or, we would play Washington. We played this casino at Washington and they gave us a small room and we sold it out. They moved us to the next room. We sold it out. They moved us to the next room and they sold it out. And we moved us to the big room where we played our show. And then you go somewhere else and you're playing this small club and you're going, there's no rhyme or reason why it is the way it is. Certain areas or demographics or what have you. I couldn't figure it. Like I couldn't imagine being a booker trying to figure this shit out, like trying to figure out the best.
From our time, it was easier. And the reason is because back then the analytics, the sample of analytics the spectrum was far less broad.
Gotcha.
Because, where you're selling records, where you're getting radio airplay. Aside from that, like now, like even in Oklahoma City, we have a place called the Criterion, which is roughly like the Factory or the Pageant. They'll have bands in there. I'm like, I've never heard of these people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a guy, I'm not locked up in any sort of time period as far as music goes. I'm not like, oh yeah, I just listen to stuff from the 90s, or I'm like, I try to stay as current as I can with my musical taste, put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so, but for us, like maybe we play in LA and, LA is a million shows, but maybe we play the Palace in LA, fairly nice venue, fairly big venue. We go to San Diego and play for 300 people.
Gotcha.
And then we go to, and then in the LA, because LA's so massive, then you go to Anaheim, play the House of Blues or something. It was just weird. You'd have these sort of black hole places that you would think, but, we kind of tried to stay, the major cities where you could, but then there would be odd places like Omaha, Nebraska. It was just a rock town. And that was back, the urge is going, I'm sure Steve and Carl could tell a million stories about playing Omaha because they were huge, still are. I'm sure they could go to Omaha and just pack it out. But there was a place called the Ranch Bowl there, and it was a bowling alley.
Oh.
But the venue, it was about a 800 head venue, and you just pack it out and you get to bowl all day for free. And, and you'd have those places. Des Moines, Iowa was another place. And maybe that's why, bands like Slipknot and those, it was like, there was this weird, like, you'd think it's not a major city, but you just pack rooms out there when you played there. Places that we didn't, I can name a million places that that we wouldn't go into. Like, strangely enough, Oklahoma City, where I live, like we would play in Tulsa all the time. We played 2 shows ever in Oklahoma City, and we just wouldn't go there. Just because we didn't have the support. But again, it was a different time. Like now, like you guys are a band now. Kara would, there's, they can look at the streaming numbers. They can look at all this other stuff. YouTube. They've got all this. They've got all these analytics, and they can figure that stuff out. I mean, back then it was just, where are you getting radio airplay and where are you selling records? And then you go in and the promoters were really, actually the agents were really riding the backs of the record labels back then.
Gotcha.
And now it's the opposite.
Well, when we were doing it, it was 2009, 2008, 2009. So Napster and all that LimeWire were still a thing. So it was, I don't think the label could even figure it out because I think our A&R guy, I'll drop his name, Andy Oliphant, Tim Oliphant's brother. You ever seen that show Justified?
Yeah.
His brother was our A&R rep.
That's crazy.
And, one of the things he told us when Champagne went number one was at that time, we had only sold 70,000 records. And then he said, for everybody that's bought your record, who knows how many stole it? Because LimeWire was a thing.
Yeah.
And everything else. In fact, when our second record came out, before it was released, it was already on LimeWire and shit. So people could download it for free before it was even released.
Yeah. That happened to us right at the tail end of, we got to exist when you had to, if you wanted Guilty, we had the Guilty single. But if you wanted Guilty, if you didn't get your hands on that single, you had to buy a CD or a cassette.
It's so funny because last time I saw you, we were actually talking about this, but it was, 12 years ago. Spotify wasn't here. iTunes Music wasn't here. It was still like LimeWire, Napster, and now
and YouTube.
And we were talking about how different it was, with LimeWire and Napster and YouTube and, all that shit. And now that's gone. And now there's this whole other entity that's fucking everyone over.
Right, which has become even less and less artist friendly.
Yeah.
And Spotify just announced this last week that they are going to put a threshold now on the amount of you have to get over a certain threshold for them to pay you on streaming. So let's say I don't know what the threshold is, but let's just throw out a number. Let's say Spotify says it's 5,000 streams. Anything under that 5,000 streams, they're not going to pay an artist. As soon as you hit 5,001 or 5,000, now they will pay you retroactively for your 5,000 streams. But they're not going to pay you up until you hit a threshold.
Well, most platforms have rules like that.
But Spotify never did it.
Oh, okay.
Before.
Yeah, but they're just jumping on the bandwagon because TikTok, you got to have 1,000 followers before you can stream on there, and YouTube, I think, is similar.
But the difference is, Spotify's built on the backs of music. Yeah. Now podcast, hopefully at some point we see you guys there, right?
Oh, we're on it.
Oh, you're on Spotify? You're on Spotify.
We're everywhere you can stream podcasts, by the way. Audio
well, you got to let me know all this stuff so I don't sound like a dumbass. But I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. But
no, that was perfect because then I got to drop that in there.
That's awesome. But that's where. But that's So the paradigm keeps shifting to even less artist-friendly places. And we were talking about that because the gatekeepers, now it's getting on the Spotify playlist, and how do you do that, and who do you pay, and who's legit, and who's all that stuff. And I have no idea how you would navigate that.
Dude, it's the most frustrating thing. Last year, Spotify sent Cabo this thing saying, hey, you can do this video to thank your fans and your streamers and listeners, and we'll put it on your thing. And we shot this video, did all these things, and they didn't select us. And so we went through all this effort, and it was like, so you're not going to use it. You decided who you're going to pick to feature.
Yeah, you're right. They're the gatekeeper.
It's just ridiculous. It's just, I can't imagine what it's like for a young band now to try to get successful. And, they don't develop bands anymore. They don't, you have to have a hit, and we're going to use that hit, and you might get a second one, or we're moving on to the next person.
A lot of music success, I feel like, is coming from fucking TikTok these days. Literally.
Kara, my wife and I were just talking about that today. We were in the car, and there was some song, and it's horrible. I'm sorry. I don't shit on music. If you can finish a fucking recording and get it out there, you're amazing, because it takes a lot of work. But this song sucks. And I told my wife, I was like, it sounds like somebody got their hands on GarageBand. And if you're out there using GarageBand, it's a great tool. And if you're badass at it, and you figured it out, more power to you. But this person who did the song, it sounds like it was the first time they opened GarageBand. And it's some TikTok track. is what, she's like, because I was like, oh, this song sucks. I'm like, get off my lawn. And because, I'm just pissed. And so she's like, oh, yeah, I think this song's like 10 years old. But TikTok people started using it for the thing. And now, whatever one of the top 40 stations in town was playing it.
Oh, jeez.
But now people will just sing on their videos, and it'll get crazy attention. Like, I've found a couple bands that I like from TikTok, and they're really great. But I mean, that's really the one social media site, in my opinion, that people are getting discovered. Like, there's people going on tour now because they got discovered on TikTok. Like, selling venues out, selling arenas out.
Selling arenas out. Yeah. I mean, we had that discussion. We were like, there are people that are selling out Madison Square Garden that, had a TikTok hit.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, any TikToker wants to use any cowboy music, go ahead. Anyway.
Yeah, no shit, right?
like one of my favorite bands before they blew up was Greta Van Fleet. And they had some weird video that was trolling around TikTok, and everyone loved it. And now everyone's a fucking fan. And they went on this world tour a couple years ago, sold everything out. They're doing another one next year, sold it all out. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you have talent, go for it. Great. I'm very excited for you.
I think these younger kids, they have more access and ability, but I think it's just saturated with so many people trying to do it. It's got to be like mind-numbingly difficult to get your shit.
I don't know how you penetrate that, and maybe you do. I mean, people do. People do. But and people would point to our story too. I mean, the Gravity Kills story is lightning striking. It was lightning in a bottle, and it was a song, and we finished it, and we got it on this thing, and it blew up, and it was kind of in a way, for our time, it's a TikTok story.
What do you mean?
Because without, back in the olden times, I mean,
the olden times
bands would. This is before my time. Ye old band days where guys would spend an enormous amount of time learning how to play an instrument, songwriting, all those things, and there was always pop music. There was always sort of bubblegummy pop, if you want to use that term. There were those artists that existed through, but once the Beatles happened, that landscape shifted. And and then so you had the Beatles and the Who and the Doors, and we can just mention a million bands that were influential to everybody in the room, and Greta Van Fleet, being influenced by the Led Zeppelin, and and those bands emerged from it, and these bands were amazing musicians. Making a record was a true art form. Have you ever watched the documentary, Sound City documentary with Dave Grohl did?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need to watch that documentary, Kara.
It's amazing.
Because what it is, there's a studio in Los Angeles that was the studio where Fleetwood Mac did Rumors.
Okay.
Actually, they did the first 2 records there, I think, maybe 3 records. But Cut 2, so they did all these great records, like the first Rick Springfield record was cut there. Cut 2, Nirvana Nevermind being cut there. And so the ups and downs of the studio. And what happens in this documentary is they talk about all these great records and the process of making a record. This was a non-digital studio. It was a studio I had to cut to tape. So you had to be able to play your shit. Like Tom Petty made records there. Okay. Like they went in there. And so as the record business evolved and became where recording migrated to a digital environment, that the art of making a record, some feel, was lost. That grinding it out in the studio, getting the take, even by the time Gravity Kills existed, it was 8 bars of glory, man. We actually cut records. We finished the first record to tape, to 2-inch. People don't know that.
What does that mean?
That means that it was not in a digital environment. We were having to play our instruments,
right,
sing all of our stuff. We couldn't chop it up conveniently in a computer, move things around and edit them that way. Okay. We had to sit in a studio and fucking work it out.
Right.
So, Kara, in other words, a verse comes up. Nowadays, you can play that verse and you can just play 8 measures of it And if it's perfect, then you can just cut and paste to finish.
Control C, Control V.
Yeah. And back in the day, you had to play that shit correctly. And if you fucked up, guess what?
You have to do it again.
Right.
Do it again?
Or they have to punch you into a certain part, like, the tape's rolling and then they hit record at a certain part.
Okay.
And then and so it was a much different process.
Okay. Now I know.
Okay, so now
I know something else.
Okay, so we were talking about GarageBand earlier, and it's an app that just that you could. I've got it on my phone. I sit when I'm on an airplane flying to St. Louis. Sometimes I sit and I just make drum beats and stuff on my phone, and instead of watching whatever, I'm watching Ted Lasso or whatever I happen to be watching at the time. So now with the GarageBand, what happened? With programs like that, apps like that, it comes with drum loops, it comes with guitar loops, it comes with all these things, and you can just basically just take these things and insert them into your songs
And change the key.
and do all the stuff just via algorithms, and you don't have to, which leads us, and we haven't got that far in the conversation. Now all of a sudden, what the fuck, somebody could go now and go into whatever music GPT. I don't know what that really is, but you know what I'm getting at. So the chat GPT, and you go, hey, let's do something that sounds like, what if Cavo collaborated with Gravity Kills?
What would it sound like?
What would it sound like?
And it'll just do it.
And they'll just plug it in, and then the AI will just kick it out, and you'll have this Cavo Gravity Kill song. And let's say they want me to be the singer. Well, I don't even have to show up. If they're gonna record everything I've ever said. They're gonna be able to input anything they want to input. That anything I've ever sang live, anything I've ever sang in a studio, anything that's available online anyway. They can input that and they can regenerate. Just like, have you seen all the?
I don't like that.
Right? Who does?
Neither do musicians.
There goes the music industry.
We're going. You guys aren't paying us enough now.
Yeah.
Right. They don't have to pay you at all then.
Yeah. Now you're just going to completely take everything away from it.
And I hate for the conversation to go in that direction necessarily, but that's we had this conversation, a decade ago, and we're still having the damn conversation.
Yeah. But now it's worse.
It's
Now
worse.
it's worse.
Way worse.
Right. It's
way worse.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And in a weird way, you and I both, we were lucky to be on the ride when we were.
I am. You're talking about your story and how it got started. Cavo, our song Champagne got started here on the Point, and because of Tom and Jeff and Tommy Mattern, they started playing us here. Tommy had us played up in Chicago, and then I guess he knew a couple of PDs and sent the song to him. It was like, this song's reacting here in St. Louis. We were getting played in, I don't know, I'm going to say 9 to 13 markets, and we didn't have a record deal. That's how we got noticed. That's why people started coming on us. Who is this band? What's this song? And why are they charting? And they don't have a record deal. It was because we had the support of a St. Louis radio station that believed in us and gave us a shot. And we had the song that reacted.
Yeah, and now radio might be, and anybody, if Tommy Mattern were listening to this, he could tell me, but I don't know. I mean, I would assume that radio is so constrained now because of it's competing with media that doesn't exist on people's phones.
Right.
So I would assume now in 2023, I don't know. Maybe Tommy Mattern's a guy, and Tommy Mattern's an old school guy, and he's been in the business forever, and maybe he could say, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. And, and it's St. Louis, and I can do whatever the fuck I want because I've controlled this market for 20 years. But is he constrained where it's like, oh, I got to stick with this format because if I lose a listener, because your ratings, and you lived on, you were you were on the you were on a radio station in the top 20 market.
Yeah.
You guys lived by those books.
I think Tommy still has control because I think he, right before the pandemic, we released a song called Wolves, and it got. Donnie Vandango started playing it, and we got a lot of play for like 4 or 5 months here in St. Louis. It was getting played 3, 4, 5 times a day, during the pandemic time. So I think he still has.
Yeah, and you guys have, in several markets though, you guys have, there's a recognition there.
Yeah. Yeah,
which is as opposed to like some band that nobody had ever. Hey, this is a new band you've never heard of, and hope you like the song, and please keep listening and don't change the station because of I need that revenue, and so it's just different, and I don't know, fuck, where are we gonna be if I came back in 5 years from now, and you guys have blown up and. You're like the it's like the Joe Rogan podcast all of a sudden,
nationwide,
right?
Baby.
And
How was the scene back in the day when you were coming up?
Man, I'll tell you what, St. Louis, even Dallas was a scene that, we were talking when I came in. I mean, the Toadies, Tripping Daisy, right when I was in a bunch of bands, Edie Brickell and New Bohemians, Dallas was a very eclectic thing. The Nixons came out of Dallas, and they were from Oklahoma City, but they came out of Dallas. And so when I came to St. Louis, we existed because of bands like The Urge and and Stir and
Sinister Dane,
Sinister Dane, Pale Divine.
Yeah.
In fact, the very first, you're too young, you won't remember, in 1997.
I was 7.
Okay, it's when you were 7 years old, Gravity Kills played. They did a homegrown show out at Riverport, whatever it's called, Hollywood Amphitheater.
It's always Riverport for me.
Okay, so, and it was us and The Urge and Stir and all this stuff, and and we have a bunch of people there. I played Mr. Michael by Pale Divine acoustically.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because I wanted to because I recognized, not being from here and coming here. And again, the first show we ever played, nobody knew what the fuck we looked like.
Right.
They had heard 2 songs if they were all paying attention. They heard Guilty, and maybe they heard a demo version of a song called Goodbye that's on the Mortal Kombat soundtrack. Mm-hmm. That's all these people knew about the band. We played a sold-out show in front of 1,000 people at the Otherworld.
I remember that place.
And I'm standing in the audience. There's, we got local openers on, a band called Bellyfield. I don't know if you ever heard or remember those guys. They were on Point Essential 1 with us. They were one of the openers. We had a band out of Boston that we were label mates with at the time, open. And there was one other opener, and I forget, and those guys are going to be pissed.
Nice.
But I know I'm a dick. But I literally stood in the audience and watched the openers. Because nobody knew what the fuck we didn't have a picture published yet.
I feel like that's with a lot of bands, though. Like, if I went to a festival and some other band was just, walking around, band members were just walking around, I feel like that happens to me all the time. Like, they could be right fucking next to me and I would have no idea.
But
because I don't pay attention.
If you were at a club show, if you went to Del Mar Hall to name the band that you're totally into.
Deftones.
Okay. So Chino's standing right next to you.
Oh, I would know that.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And these people were fucking crazy. I mean, and there was stuff my grandparents were at the show. God rest their soul. And I remember some crazy shit going on right up front of the show, and I'm thinking my grandparents were watching this shit. It was one of those out of head moments we talked about you shouldn't have on stage. But these people were, these people were there to see us, and they were excited to see us, and I just stood out there, and I was just another person there, and it was great. And then at some point, that changed a little bit in St. Louis. I think some guy wrote me up somebody saw me at Schnucks at Clayton Road in Big Bend, and it ended up, what I was buying at Schnucks ended up in a blurb in the fucking Riverfront Times or something.
Nice. Well, speaking of, knowing, not knowing, if you're going to the Gravity Kills show on the 11th, and Frost Children.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're going to that show on the 11th, you're probably going to hear the song Joe's about to play for you. Well, just a couple minutes of it, because, it is the song.
Yeah, it's the song
that everyone knows.
Song.
Well, one of the two. I know,
two.
One of the two that I think are very popular around here.
Right.
That they play still, that I've heard on Sirius.
Yeah. I mean, they play. Yeah,
I hear you guys and Cavo on, and every time I hear Cavo I feel like I take a picture of it and send it.
That's awesome, though, man.
And I just want to go. We've had 3-4 records since then.
Sorry, I get excited. Look, I'm in the same room with you guys. I get excited about it.
Be
Shut
happy.
up.
Be happy that the music still lives, man.
Yeah.
That's true. It's funny though if occasionally on YouTube someone goes, "I've just found this band and it's Champagne."
I love Buck Cherry.
Just go, Jesus.
Anyway, this is Guilty by Gravity Kills. Hopefully we'll be hearing that at the show.
You might.
Yeah. Make it your encore. Look at the baby face. That's the one. There she is.
Yeah.
I know you know it. Everyone knows it.
You know, that in that video,
Very interesting video,
you know,
I was going to say.
it was shot on location at the Alexandria Hotel in Los Angeles, where they shot a lot of the movie Seven.
Oh, no, that's fucking awesome.
And, you know, and the song was in the movie Seven.
Yeah.
So we ended up shooting.
What's in the box?
Right. We ended up shooting a bunch of the video there, and we got to shoot 2 days because all the streaky stuff, that was an accident. That's before digital cameras. So they used a film camera back then, Kara. They had film in it. And they had a camera.
Did you
and there
have
was
to crank it to use it?
And we got there in our Model Ts and
Yeah, see?
all right. And so what was happening was the mirror. If you've ever used a camera, like an old film camera, what happens is you can see, you know, I can see through the camera. Well, there's a mirror there. And that's what you're looking through the lens. It hits the mirror, goes to your eye. And then when you take the picture, the mirror flips up, exposes light to the film plane, and then you have a photograph. Okay, so that's what happens with motion picture film. There's a mirror and it spins, so they can look through. I know she's looking at me like,
she's
what
lost.
the
I
fuck are you
know.
talking about?
This is my concentration phase.
Okay, so do you understand the concept?
Everyone thinks I look annoyed, but it's just, I'm listening. I'm trying to take it all in.
But you understand the concept, right? So you're actually, when you look through, instead of a digital camera, you're looking, a digital camera like your phone. You're looking at the screen and you're not actually seeing what you're seeing. Mm-hmm. When you look through an old camera, you're seeing a reflection off of a mirror. Mm-hmm. Actually, two mirrors, because if it was one mirror, it'd be reversed. Okay, so I went to graduate school for film. I'm sorry. So anyway, even my wife's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I learned lots of new things.
sizzle.
Right.
I learn lots of new things every time I get behind this microphone.
So the mirror was sticking. And so it was reflecting light differently onto the film plane of the film that was capturing the light. And so it was a mistake.
Oh, but it's cool.
But it's cool. So we got that. So we had insurance on the shoot. And we got to turn that in to get another free day to shoot.
Hell yeah.
After the shit came back. Well, years later, bands like 30 Seconds to Mars use that effect. They use the same location. They use the same look in the video. That video, by mistake, created a whole look to videos that sort of that came after it. People will never say, "Oh, it was Gravity Kills," and it wasn't Gravity Kills, by the way. It was a guy named Rocky Morton who directed that. But
it kind of goes with like the whole industrial,
right.
rock feel.
Yeah.
You know?
And then, do you ever get treatments? Do you ever get video treatments back in the old days when they did, back in the old days?
Yeah, see?
When.
You get something like this that explains.
Right. A director would send you, somebody be vying to shoot your video. They would want to shoot your video. So they'd listen to the song and they'd do what was called a treatment. And they would write all this shit out that they were going to do.
Yeah.
And Rockies, I think, was just like one page. It was basically saying, yeah, we're going to make it look like the movie Seven. And we're like, it's perfect. I mean, there were people, because of the name Gravity Kills, there was one guy that was like, we were going to be in a circus and somebody was going to like, you couldn't like get a video on MTV if somebody died, obviously. It would be a snuff film on MTV.
Right.
But, you get all these crazy ass fucking treatments. And Rockies was, hey, we're going to make it look like Seven. And we're like, perfect. And we actually used not the director of photography. There was one of the people that worked on Seven worked on that video. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, we got to shoot 2 days over a mistake.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And we went back and it was December of 1995 that we did that.
So, I know we're getting so much information. This is such a long show. But like,
sorry.
Why?
Yeah, we're going to the fun part.
Well, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Right.
Sorry, I do want to play rapid fire.
Let's do it. I mean, fuck. Here we go.
And it's funny because I actually had these same questions 12 years ago.
Oh, God.
When I asked him the same thing.
Do you have Do you have the answers that he had back then?
Well, no, but
we can
it's
go
on
back.
film.
Oh,
wow! Wow! That just happened to everyone.
I know. It's on film. Okay.
That just happened.
Okay, ready? Remember the rules.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Oh, your wife wasn't here last time, though. Should I be respectful? All right.
No,
sorry.
fuck it. She's a big girl.
All right.
She's never been in a fight, so you can take her outside.
Oh, believe me, if I want to be in a bar fight, that's the person I want to be in a bar fight with my wife.
Kara's
All
scared.
right. Hell yeah.
Yeah, don't fuck with her. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Rules are still the same 12 years later. I ask you one or the other. You pick one in less than 3 seconds.
Okay, here we go.
Blonde or brunette?
Brunette.
Ass or tits?
Ass.
Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd?
I'm going to say I'm in a mood for Pink Floyd maybe now.
Carpet or hardwood?
Hardwood.
Tequila or Jaeger?
Tequila.
Living on the edge.
Yeah.
B cup or D cup?
B, not D.
Man after my heart.
You can't be an ass man and then go, I wanted.
Can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, you got to be consistent.
One or the other.
Right.
Which brings me to my next question.
Okay.
If in a woman, would you rather her have really bad lip filler or an insanely large forehead?
Oh my God.
Can't say neither.
You didn't ask this. I don't remember this.
I was going to say this is
This
a new
was a
question.
new one. This one's new.
It's a Spotify question.
I had to throw something new in there.
I'm gonna go with lip filler because when you're close enough, you can't really maybe see the lip filler, but the fucking like major ass huge forehead might be right there.
And lip filler can be dissolved.
Right, it could go away. Foreheads are big foreheads forever.
Foreheads are forever.
Sell ad space.
Taco Bell or McDonald's?
Ooh, that's a horrible question. If I got to pick, I'm gonna go with McDonald's.
Okay. Blowjob or penetration?
Ooh, I want to say penetration, not ooh. I was going ooh, like ooh. Yeah, penetration.
All right. Ketchup or mustard?
Mustard.
Bacon or sausage?
Bacon.
Batman, Spider-Man?
I got to say Spider-Man because my daughter worships Spider-Man for some reason. So
I'm not a Marvel kind of gal. I just figured I'd throw that in there because you men like that shit.
No, the only reason I've watched all that stuff is my kids. You forget, I'm from a time where back in the...
Listen here, sonny boy.
Right, Spider-Man, who's that?
All right, I got what?
He was
3
a
more.
newsie. Hey, or what?
I got 3 more. All right. Would you rather punch Courtney Love or Kanye West?
Kanye.
Thank you.
Poogies. Okay. Tattoos or piercings?
piercings, maybe. Piercings.
Okay. Last one, thong or boy shorts?
Tonight, boy shorts.
Okay. Not feeling the thongs this evening.
No, because I mean,
Don't like
by
the
the time
cloth up
by the
your
time-
butt.
Yeah, by the time you're getting, I mean, the thong why do it?
Yeah.
You know how many times we've had people here answer it for themselves?
Oh, yeah.
You're the first person who's answered it correctly.
Because back in my day, see, we were.
We wore pantaloons. We wore pantaloons down to our ankles. See?
Right. Gravity Kills pantaloons. They'll be on sale November 11th at the pageant.
Hey, I want a percentage of that, man. Damn. Thank you so much for being on the show.
I hope
making the trek.
Yeah, thanks.
Can't wait to see you guys
putting
Saturday
up with me. I mean, you're
November
sitting
11th.
there, your eyes glazing over. No, you know what? You were trying to take it in. I went off in some weeds that we probably would have been better off me
My
not going
eyes
in.
are only
Absolutely not.
glazed over.
That's what this podcast is. It's about the music and
Yep.
scene and things that people don't understand and know. Like, the St. Louis scene. There used to be a radio show about the St. Louis scene, and so we're it's gone now. So this is what we're doing. We're talking about musicianship and what bands went through, what it's like, and I think it's all amazing, dude.
And
That's
I learn
wonderful
something
stuff.
new every show too.
That's awesome, and awesome for you guys doing this because I mean, who's going to be the champion and advocate for the real shit, not the AI shit that is already there. By the way, I mean you're listening to Top 40 Radio. Half of what you're hearing is algorithmically generated, and so
Exactly.
power to the people.
Well,
Power to the people.
we are so happy that you took the time. I know you're busy, you got a lot going on, but I'm happy that you came by, chatted with us for a while. Just real quick, I want to mention that we are streaming anywhere that you listen to your podcast: Spotify, Pandora, Apple Podcasts. Our YouTube is Audio Inc. STL. Facebook, follow us on Facebook, Audio Inc. Instagrams, all the good shit. We still got some sponsorships available if you're interested, which I know you are. You want to hear my lovely voice. You want to see Pookie's pretty face and his big ass watches every week.
But she didn't say anything about my voice. You see that,
Well,
Joe?
usually we can't see your face.
That's what I'm talking about.
And people
Usually we can't see your face because it's always hidden with your hat.
find your way into the niche, man. I mean, that's what people need to sponsor this shit because it's like,
I'm with that guy.
yeah, find the niche, man. And these people are going to find a niche, and you need to be on board for it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, do you have anything you want to plug?
No, I mean, just thanks for having me. It'd be great to see people at the show. I know I think Joe, we're working on something. Yeah, and it's going to be a big family reunion, a lot of friends, and I do want to apologize in advance because I'm going to spend as much time as I can with every person that I can see day of show. But it's going to be hard, and I'm not going to be able to talk all day because I want to deliver the best show that we've done in 25 years.
Hell yeah. And if it's anything like the one I saw 12 years ago, it's going to be off the chain.
It's going to be fun, and and I hope people, whatever. Oh, back in the day.
Back in the day, it was bonkers.
It was right. It was a hootenanny, and we had a great time.
What does the next 5 years look like for you guys?
Man, for the band, I think what we've talked about doing. And I'm not going to get I've been long-winded. We've talked about stuff. Kurt and I had a really interesting conversation. It's finding common ground musically with guys that you haven't been listening to the same music with for a very long time.
Right.
So where can we find common ground? Because you want everybody's influences. You want everybody's input, and that's what makes you a band. If I wanted to do music that I wanted to do alone, I'd sit in my house and I'd do music by myself, and no one would care, including me, probably, because it's not collaborative. And to me, like you guys doing a show together, it's collaborative, and you have you have accountability to each other, and you have all those things, and you get to share triumphs with people. And that, to me, that's what I love the most about the creative process. So we talked about stuff. We're starting to find some common ground, and that's the hard part, because again, you live separate lives,
Right.
And and what Matt might be listening to, Matt's listening, and we talk about music. Hell, you guys listening to shit I have no idea, and it's probably the greatest stuff ever, right? And I'm listening to stuff that might blow your mind, and trying to cross the streams is what being in a band's about. And so we're talking about it. So the 5 years, maybe a few shows.
Yeah.
And
come back.
And then it will be time.
Don't make us wait another decade.
Because, and I'm going to say this, and you guys may or may not believe it, the band is far more interested in its legacy than creating something now, because we'd like to create something new, but we know it's not sustainable. Mm-hmm. So, we don't want to be, there are bands that we could talk about that are out. Maybe their vocalists are doing things that maybe they're just not able to deliver like they were 20, 30 years ago. And that's, people get older and it happens, right? We don't want to be one of those bands. I don't want to go out and tune down a step.
Right.
I don't want to do, and by that, you mean we're playing in a lower key to do the song live. I don't want to do those things. I want to deliver it like people, because our music is nostalgia for the most part for people. There are people still discovering it. The guy who put our YouTube channel up was some kid in England. At the time, he was like 17 years old. Mm-hmm. And, and that's only a few years old. So there are people still discovering this stuff. But for the most part, we're nostalgia. And we realize that. And then we're fine with that, and we want to protect that. So,
but yet you're still selling out fucking shows, Well,
yeah,
I don't.
No, and it's great, but but that's our motive is not like we didn't do the show with the intent of going, ooh, this is a big money grab for us. See, we didn't have that intent. It's not even our show anymore. It's about a community of people celebrating a body of work that we happen to be a part of.
That's an awesome way. Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
And that's how we're looking at this. And, and even you're like, oh, yeah, I grew up on this Guilty song and it's all that stuff. That's what it means to people. We don't have ownership of this anymore. And to say that we do would be selfish, because we couldn't do the show. You talking about selling? We couldn't do it without these people being nostalgic about it and going, man, I loved that band.
Right.
And, and it wasn't about our experience with them. It's about their experience with the music and how it fit into their life.
Mm-hmm.
How it touches them. Yeah,
right.
It's amazing.
Well, I'm excited. I can't wait. First time in 12 years I get to see him again.
It's cool. And again, thank you. And Joe, thank you for reaching out to me. And it was so cool to be here. And, meeting you, we'd never met, and we'd run in a lot of the same circles.
It's funny that you know Andy, our drummer.
Yeah. Well, everybody knows Andy.
Yeah, that's true.
Andy, you're right. I mean, Andy's a very visible human being, and being in radio too, And for whatever, I'm friends with him on social media and the other drummer from the Gin Blossoms. So I don't know what my connections. This is my fourth mention. The Gin Blossoms need to drop me, some promotional money. But everywhere I go,
yeah.
Okay. Well, Jeff, you have an open invitation to come.
Absolutely.
Anytime you want to come.
Absolutely.
Anytime you have something you want to plug, or if you just want to come hang out.
Cool, man.
You're welcome to come by anytime.
Can't wait to see you at the show, the 11th of November. Don't forget, y'all, I am out next week. I won't be here. It's just going to be Pookie and Joe and...
I have a guest coming in, Larry Kornfeld.
Larry Kornfeld will be here. Yes. I'll be back the week after that for the 17th. It's going to be the Tom and Jeff Memorial Show, which I am very excited for, which Pookie will not be here. No. So we're just alternating, But slacking.
I'm gonna call in from my Black Magic Band show.
Yeah.
We'll get that all figured out.
Now I'm all fucking started on that shit, man.
Yeah, get me sing? Yeah, copper.
Well, for Joe Pro, I'm Kara the Lesbian.
And I am Pookie Jones, and this is the Audio Inc. STL podcast. See you guys next week.
Peace.
Your own personal Jesus. cares, someone who's there. Your own personal Jesus. Someone to hear your prayers, someone who cares. Feeling unknown when you're all alone. Flesh and bone, but telephone. Lift up the receiver, I'll make you a believer. Take second best, put me to the test. Things on your chest that we need to confess. I will deliver, you know I'm a forgiver. Reach out, touch faith. Your own personal Jesus. Someone to hear your prayers, someone who's there. Your own personal Jesus. Someone to hear your prayers, someone who cares. Reach out, touch faith. Reach out, touch faith. Reach out, touch faith. Reach out.